Today is a great, wonderful, amazing, incredible day, and I'll tell you why. Because it's a Germany day. The German military will become Europe's most powerful, and here is why. Without further ado, let's get into this reaction. Let's go.
Fighter jets and helicopters that don't fly. Standard issue assault rifles that don't shoot straight. And shortages in ammunition, boots, and even underwear during a NATO mission in Lithuania. These are the headlines that the once feared German military are currently making.
Also, basically, your military of recent times, not being the greatest, not the best upkeep. What's going on, Germany? But they're saying that you might become the most powerful, so let's see what's going to happen.
To mention the hundreds of millions of euros that went to consultants in an effort to clean up the army's mess, with very little to show for it. German high-ranking officials are raising their concerns. And so are NATO allies, where statements such as these are not uncommon. Ever since the Cold War ended in 1991, these are...
Why? Who said that? I don't think anyone really said that. Why are the Germans only terrible at war when they're on our side? That's bad. It's funny, but I don't know why they need to bring up the war again. No matter where you look, there's dysfunction. But at least you guys agree that your military needs work. You need support. You need to, I don't know, increase funding or whatever you need to do. So let's see how you're going to do
not
that.
Uncommon. Ever since the Cold War ended in 1991, Germany has allowed its military to deteriorate. And this is somewhat understandable, as Germany was busy integrating the West with the East, which posed great economic and social challenges. Over the last 30 years, there was simply very little incentive to have a powerful military, as Germany doesn't share a border with potential aggressors like Russia. NATO, and especially the US, was there for protection, and unlike the US and the UK, Germany had very few overseas commitments, and there was very little appetite for a large military among the population, who still remember the horrors of World War II. But overnight...
That makes sense. All of what he said just made sense. Absolutely. Especially after World War II. You're probably like, oh, let's just can we defund the military, please? Like, nobody wants that right now after what happened. And I completely get that. And I was thinking, and like, I could be like, well, the UK also was in the World War II, but we continued to fund our military, but we have to protect overseas territories. And I look at the one that we have outside of, is it Argentina? I can't remember what it's called. You know, we've got an island there. We've got some Caribbean islands. We have, places around the world that we have to protect. So we need to have a robust military and military bases all around the world.
Everything has changed. Only 3 days after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, made a shocking announcement, declaring that Germany will massively increase its defense spending and meet the 2% NATO benchmark. This was met by applause in Parliament, and surveys already show that 75% of Germans support this decision.
Okay.
But how significant is this increase? Let's have a look at defense.
2% doesn't sound a lot, but when your GDP is like billions, is it billions or trillions? I don't know. A lot of money. 2% is a lot.
Spending across the globe last year.
So the UK, we spent 2.7% of our GDP. Wow. Russia is 4.3. The US 3.7% of their GDP. Okay, but China and Russia do. We need more European nations in the top 5, because we can't just be sitting there at number 5.
Last year in 2021, as you can see, Germany spent $52.8 billion. Sitting at 7th in the world ranking list, slightly ahead of France, but significantly behind the UK and Russia. But if we compare percentage of GDP, Germany ranks much lower. Of the 20 biggest military spenders, Germany comes in 15th, as they only spend 1.4% of their GDP on their army. Many have criticized this lack of spending, as it is far below the NATO target of...
Believe me, Germany is spending very, very slow, very little. That sounds like something that Trump would say. I wonder if he ever said that. Trump is very much about business. He would literally say that.
2%. However, once Germany hits the 2% target, things will look very different.
Yeah.
Because of Germany's strong economy, military expenditure would rise to $76.12 billion, putting Germany into third place, ahead of Russia and the UK, making them the frontrunner within the EU and Europe by quite some distance. And German politicians have said as much, clearly stating that this is the intent. And it doesn't stop here. In an effort to modernize the military more quickly, Olaf Scholz has also dedicated a one-time special fund of over 100 billion euros to German defense. This is a lot of money, but spend doesn't necessarily equal military might. The UK, France, and Russia are still far ahead when it comes to military strength. Here we can see the comparison between these nations. While Germany does have a significant number of soldiers, aircraft, and tanks, it only has a very small presence on the sea. France and the UK do have a considerable navy, with multiple destroyers, submarines, and even 3 aircraft carriers in between them. And well, then there's Russia, who just has a lot of everything. As for nuclear weapons...
a lot of everything. Look at the manpower. 850,000 soldiers. That's scary. This is why we need the United States, for just the manpower.
In the aftermath of World War II, it was agreed that Germany cannot possess nuclear, biological, or chemical weapons.
Oh, wow.
However, this comparison is somewhat incomplete and flawed.
Germany
as it
doesn't have any nuclear weapons. What? I didn't know that you weren't a nuclear-armed nation. Wow. I didn't know that. That's a good thing. But now I think they're going to think about arming you with nukes. I hate nuclear weapons. It's horrible, but I'm surprised you don't have any.
As it does not take into account military modernization, high-tech weapons, logistics, military experience, and intelligence. Whether Germany will become a military superpower also depends on how the money is spent. Scholz has already hinted at a high-level tech wish list, such as the F-35 fighter to replace older Tornado aircraft from the 1970s, the Future Combat Air System, which is developing together with France, heavy transport helicopters, modernization of air defense missile systems, armed drones, modern warships, etc. However, as mentioned at the start of the video, Germany still seems to be getting the basics wrong. Only around 40% of helicopters and 65% of tanks are operational. And it gets even worse. A recent German parliamentary report found that only 50% of major military hardware is working properly.
Oh God, Germany. So basically, you need to spend a lot of money. It's all good that you're going to be spending more than all the countries and you're going to be number 3 and spending the most out of Europe, but you've also got to replace stuff. So you're going to be behind with your military for a while you're replacing stuff, doing checks, making sure everything's operational. It's going to take a while for you guys to get your military up to standard, but I'm glad you're doing it, because I mean, if war broke out and Russia started invading Europe, we need you, man. You're the biggest economy in Europe. We need you guys to put your expertise in place. You're efficient. You are. Germany is the industrial country, the one you invent things, you create things, you have efficiency. You should be at the top. So I'm excited, not excited, but I'm glad that you're getting your military up to standard so that we have a better defense in Europe against our adversaries.
Therefore, money needs to be spent in getting existing equipment up and running first. And as you may remember from the start of the video, the German Bundeswehr has the reputation of wasting taxpayers' money. So, will Germany become the new European superpower? Possibly, but not until Germany cleans up its current mess and invests the new budget wisely. But next to the world's superpowers, such as the US and China, even with Germany's new budget, it remains a small player, as it spends way too little. And this really raises the question, does an EU army make sense? Check out the videos below to see the reasons for and against an EU army. And if you enjoy the content, please subscribe and like the video. I'm a very new channel, and this will really help me grow.
An EU, sorry, I'm thinking about the EU army. An EU army? Let me know in the comment section if I should react to that. I'm definitely want to react to that. That's actually quite a good idea. An EU army instead of individual countries. If you've got a European Union and you guys are all in this union together, then why wouldn't you have a army that trains together, so you're all on one page. I mean, the UK, we're not part of the EU, so... but I think the rest of the European nations, you should really put your armies together and create a big one. That would make sense. It would be a lot more efficient. A stronger army. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Until the next one, I will see you very soon.